It's September 2024 and we are here for another construction update for Universal Epic Universe. In this update, we will begin with the Dark Universe. Over at the Burning Blade Tavern, Adventuring with Annie caught them testing the windmill. We can see it moving. It will eventually start testing the flame effect, but I don't think they have started testing that yet. The windmill will erupt in flames every 20 minutes once the park is open. At the portal to Dark Universe is the graveyard. Seen here are 2 carts full of plants. They are in the process of landscaping the graveyard area. Back at the Burning Blade Tavern, we can see even more trees and greenery have been added around the hillside surrounding the restaurant. Here under the roof will be an outdoor seating area for customers. At the roller coaster, Curse of the Werewolf, a few details have been added to the right entrance. A red dark awning has been added to the carriage, plus more details have been added to the back of the carriage. The carriage on the other side also has a few things added to it. Plus a sign has been placed in front of it. Stone walls can also be seen on the pathway of the queue. They continue to add more steel frames to the queue area. These will eventually be covered by a tent. This coffin is another recent addition to the queue for the Curse of the Werewolf. Above these steps, a sign has been added. It reads Carpathian Carriage Company. More steel frames have been added on top of the previously constructed brown frames that are over the tracks to the right. Lanterns can be seen off to the side. Official concept art shows that it will look like this when it's all done. It will have many colorful lanterns. The pavement in Darkmoor Village is no longer covered with the protected covering, so we can get a good look at all the details in the concrete surrounding the well. The well is still not finished. It now has some poles on top which will eventually be covered with some ornate pillars. This side of Darkmoor is a retail shop. The facades have been painted in darker tones and aged to match the tone of the Dark Universe. Here above the door is a sign, but I can't make out the words. Over here, still on the retail side, is a side view of the sign for Pretoria's Scientific Oddities. The coils that will be lit for a cool lighting effect are on each side of the sign. In this picture, there's a sign on the ground, and here in this picture we can see them actively installing the sign, which looks like it has a person on it. The manor is where the main attraction will be, Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. The tower has finally been installed. Scaffolding surrounds it as they put the finishing touches on it. One of the turrets is being staged on the ground before it gets installed. This is just one of the turrets that will be placed next to the main tower that is being worked on right now. This is how it looked before the tower was installed. It just has the steel frames on top. The portal is still covered in scaffolding as they continue to work on it. The world sphere appears to be covered in a protective covering. We can see the cool designs on the ring that surrounds the sphere. Now let's go over to Super Nintendo World to check on the progress so far. At the arrow is a frame that was recently placed. This is for the themed mushroom cap for Toadstool Cafe. Scaffolding surrounds the entrance side from Mario Land into Donkey Kong Country. The wall is covered in a brick pattern. This will be another warp pipe to enter Donkey Kong Country. Bowser's Castle now has a frame up to create Bowser's head. They've only begun to cover it. The mill turret now has its top piece. This is a recent addition. A warp pipe and a question block has also been added to the top of the exit gift shop. Scaffolding still covers the archways that lead to Donkey Kong Country. They've added a brick pattern to the archways. Down in the courtyard is where Mario and Luigi's meet and greet will be. This is also covered in scaffolding as they work to theme it. The stairs that lead down from Princess Peach's castle has recently had turrets installed as well. Now over in Donkey Kong Country, here are the interactive drums. Eventually crates will be installed behind them with a rhino that will pop out. Various trees and plants are starting to be added around this pathway by the wall. Here's a look at work so far on the themed snack stand called Bubbly Barrel. They've added a bunch of metal frames along the outside. Next to the snack stand is Donkey Kong's treehouse. It's really coming along quite nicely. This will be the meet and greet area for this land. On the other side of the snack stand, they've already started covering the metal frames to make the outside look like a barrel. A tree was recently planted in the center of the walking path. Trees were also recently added between the wall and the spikes. A small jungle has popped up around the minecart madness track. Just last month, this area was bare. Many trees have been added since then. And over here we can see the back of Dixie Kong. Here's progress so far on Funky's Flying By gift shop. Most of it's been covered. Just the top of the wing needs to be covered. They are in the process of painting the water feature blue. This is where the minecart will skim above the water. We can also get a good look at the different textures of the wall. The entrance archway was recently added, as well as a tent behind and beside it. This is the entrance to the ride Minecart Madness. Over at the queue, we can see a bunch of holes in the cement, most likely for the stanchions that will eventually be installed. A new addition are the vines that have been added around Mugly and the pillar he sits on. The arrow was painted onto the barrel where the minecart will shoot out. Scaffolding surrounds the other side of the warp pipe as they work to construct it. Steel frames currently surround the opening. It will eventually look like this and be more like a rocky exterior. Lighting is being installed along the track for Yoshi's Adventure. One appears to be finished while the others are in various stages of installation. Yoshi has finally been added to the tree on Mount Beanpole. He will walk around the tree once everything is working. And here's how the final scene of Yoshi's Adventure is looking so far. Princess Peach's castle now has some of the turrets placed on top. Only one has been painted pink so far. The piranha plant is being staged over here, waiting to be installed for the piranha plant nap mishap. The fence has been installed around the perimeter of that key challenge. The other key challenges are coming along quite nicely. Most of the Koopa Troopa Power Punch game has been painted. We can even see the turtle shells on the game track. They haven't installed the medallion yet, where you will place your power-up band to start the game and collect the key. Next to that is the Goomba Crazy Crank Key Challenge. The Goomba appears to be falling backwards. The outer wall still needs its facade, but we can see the turning device to play the game has been installed. A worker is actively sculpting the stone on this wall for the stairs by Princess Peach's castle. Here, some baby Yoshis have been placed at Yoshi's Adventure ride in the final scene. The portal to Super Nintendo World now has its portal rings, plus they've started to decorate it. The warp pipes have been added to the top of it. Now let's go check out How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. In the bay are some Viking ships. A lot of details have been added recently. Colorful sails have also been added to the masts of the two ships at the back of the bay. A bunch of barrels and bags have been added with food. It looks like they've been designed to look like apples and potatoes. The dock also has crates and a bucket full of produce and some bags stacked on the end. You can also see oars and spears on the dock. The details are looking really great. The roof at the candy shop now has its shingles, which according to the flyover, it will eventually be blue and purple. There's also a dragon house off to the side of it. This one appears to be very big. This house will have a dragon head sticking out of it. Gober's Forge now has 3 smaller dragon houses on top of the roof. The mountain with the dragon houses looks like it could be complete. It has several houses as well as stone pathways around them, and the mountain is covered in greenery. I think the only thing that is missing are the dragons. Dragon Racers Rally is a spinning attraction. Work continues on adding more frames for the queue. This is framing for tents to give guests shade as they wait to ride. A banner was recently added to the back of the attraction. The banner is a picture of Stormfly, Astrid's dragon. Over at the boat attraction called Fyre Drill, even more targets have been added to the ride. Signs have been posted to help out riders as they aim at the targets. They say things like, on fire, aim here, maybe, easy, this way. The targets now have the circles installed where riders are supposed to aim the water cannons. Some of the targets are of ships on fire. There's even a ship split in half. All the ships have been placed on the ride path, but they also put a temporary dam on the load station on both ends so no water gets in. The roof of the load station now has another layer of wood that has been placed on top of the wood beams. The end of the ride has a lot less targets installed, but more can be seen staged over by Spitfire Grill that have yet to be installed. At Hiccup's Wing Gliders, we can now see 3 baby dragons at the second launch. 2 are hiding over here, and the other one is over on the other side. This is the load and unload station for Hiccup's Wing Gliders. The entrance and exit have an archway that's been painted. The wall that divides Hiccup Wing Gliders from Dragon Racers Rally now has a wooden fence around it, and the steel frames have been painted brown to resemble wood beams. At the second launch, it looks like a bunch of lights have been installed on the back of the rock archway that goes over the track. The exit gift shop for Hiccup's Wing Gliders has been painted. The entrance to the ride is right next to the gift shop. A big dragon head has been installed with 2 smaller dragon heads. Here's a much better picture of Toothless. On the last update, it was a little blurry. His leg is on top of what looks like a button. He will start the coaster to propel the ride forward. At Mead Hall, the central restaurant, scaffolding has come down around the Viking statues. These statues will not be colorful according to the concept art. It looks like they added a few darker gray tones to them as well as some mossy looking green tones in various places. The scaffolding is now around the entrance to Mead Hall as they work on the restaurant's doorway. Here's how work is coming along in front of the portal to How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. There's a new concrete form off to the side of the entrance into Berk. Spitfire Grill is the other restaurant in the world. A dragon has been added to the front side of the restaurant. There will be an outdoor seating area for Spitfire Grill. This decorative archway is a new addition. It has a dragon head on top. This is the entrance to the seating area where guests will be able to eat while enjoying views of the attraction Fyre Drill. The Viking training camp has seen a lot of progress since the last update. Several structures have been added. The middle structure has been built recently and even has a frame for the roof. Next to that, we have another structure that's been here longer. It now has its roof frames as well as flooring, which is partly covered in loose wood planks. Over by the bathrooms is another structure. Coverings have also been added to all the steel frames. It also looks like the inside of this section of the training camp has been paved with concrete. This was the first structure to be built in the Viking training camp. Wood beams have also been added around the center section of the pathway that is around the ramp. I believe this is a second level, and the entrance to the bottom level is through this doorway where some wood beams are. A wood fence has also been added around the Viking training camp. Now let's look at how the Ministry of Magic is coming along. Scaffolding was currently surrounding most of the buildings for a long time, but most of the scaffolding has come down and we can see all the intricate details of the facades. Here is the entrance to the ride Battle at the Ministry. This will be where we enter the Metroflue. A curved frame goes around the top of the entrance to the Metroflue. I think this will be for the awning and it will have a sign on it. Here, work continues on the steps to nowhere. This was covered in scaffolding, but it has come down recently. Behind it, they are theming the turrets that will be lifted up onto the tower that is behind the buildings in this narrow section. These will be to create the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur. This facade is the outer building that leads to the inner courtyard, which will sort of be like a nocturne alley for the streets of Paris. We can see 2 doorways to enter the courtyard. Work is still being done on the lower section for the facade. This corner is a building that has a cafe. A few signs have been placed on the building. This is a shop, Les Galeries Magnifiques. This is a shop that will sell wizarding gear and memorabilia. Signage has been installed at the Café Léa de la Serine. The menu will offer French sandwiches and desserts, and it will be open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The metal frames for the awnings have been installed as well as some lights. Above the awning, the words Les Galeries Magnifiques are seen on the railing. Here's the other side of the same building. This also has the metal frames for the awning. Above it on the railing it says Hotel. Farther down, more signs have been added. At the very end is a headless statue holding its head. The words above it read, Magic finished or magic completed. The letters at the end are Roman numerals for the year 1790, which is the year the French Ministry of Magic was founded. Trees have been planted at this dead-end street. The roof to the quick-service restaurant in the inner courtyard has been aged with some green in various places. On the ground just outside the Wizarding World is the Phoenix statue. This will go inside the streets of Paris on the arch, which they are calling the Phoenix Arch. This is the other side of the inner courtyard. The wall has a calendar on it. The months of the year can be seen: October, November, December, and January. The facade on this wall is covered in bricks. This once had a big opening and it would let in machinery and other construction materials. Behind it is where there's room to expand the Wizarding World with perhaps another attraction if they so desire. The back of that wall can be seen here. They recently sealed it up. Seen here is a worker at the top of the arch creating the letters in black. We can see the rest of the words that have not yet been finished. Here's how the portal is looking so far. It looks like it's been paved inside. The facades at the end of the street are looking very colorful. This is a window that will have the Niffler interactive wand experience. Above that is a beautiful painting of Egypt with pyramids and tropical trees. 3 more trees have been added in front of these shops on the streets of Paris. Now we will take a look at the construction over at the Central Hub Celestial Park. Scaffolding has recently been built around the Atlantic restaurant. The outside will eventually have pillars. Garden walls have been added by the entrance to the Atlantic. Meteor Astro Pub is another restaurant. The outside is being covered with bricks. Landscaping is in progress outside of the Blue Dragon Pan-Asian restaurant. Grass has been added. Off to the side is a bridge that recently was paved. It also has some columns and light posts that were recently added. Work is being done at the base of the Kronos. The outside ring is now black, but eventually it will be a green and yellow. They are working on the inside of the portal. On the ground are several rods of some kind to create a pattern. A colorful concrete circle is taking shape in front of the Kronos. It has a swirling pattern and is not yet complete. The rest of the entrance plaza is looking really good. Over at the Security and Missions building, you can see the colorful concrete patterns they've created. The colorful concrete circle in front of Constellation Carousel looks as though it might be finished. Around the water feature, a green layer has been placed around the lower tier wall and the edge. Scaffolding can be seen here in this small section. This could indicate ride testing and that the turntable is moving. Another recent addition is this blue pathway being created by the attraction. Foam blocks continue to be added on this side as they create a berm being built from the foam blocks. We first saw them building up the wall around the water feature, and now they are encircling this section. The splash pad, Astronomica, is now partially colored. The compass rose can be seen in the concrete pattern. A bunch of trees have been added around the snack and beverage stands. One of these is a Celestiki bar. The Luna Overlook now has several rocks painted in various shades of blue. They even started painting the floor of the water feature blue. The statue of the goddess Luna is now complete and is covered in scaffolding. The Oak and Star Tavern is another restaurant in Celestial Park. It now has its concrete circle painted just outside the entrance. The ceiling over the kitchen is now completely covered. This is a pair of restaurants closer to the front of the park. It was a late addition, but it seems to be coming along quite nicely. These are the buildings at the entrance to Epic Universe. The building has been covered in bricks just like Meteor Astropub. The awnings that are over the walkways are being worked on, and the domes are being constructed for the awnings. And some spires have also been added to the roof, although they are currently covered so we can't see what they look like. The statue of Helios, the sun god, has been installed. He is in front of the in-park hotel. Helios can be seen holding a bow and arrow. He is not yet complete and is missing his hand. Here is how he looked before he was covered in scaffolding. Also, look at the size comparison between the worker off to the side and the statue. This thing is pretty big. Artificial turf has been added to the tiered seating at the show fountain. Some small plants have also been added on the sides of the cascading water feature. Vines are starting to cover the frame to the entrance to the Stardust Racers. The archway was recently painted green. 2 statues are covered in plastic at the front of the attraction. The garden area in front of the Helios Grand Hotel is currently being worked on. Trees, grass, and smaller plants have been planted. The pool is really starting to make great progress. Several trees have been added since our last update. The Lotus Lagoon is a poolside bar. The outer dome for the roof can be seen on the ground. It's being assembled before it's lifted into place. The inner dome that is currently on the roof is a recent addition. The poolside cabanas can be seen over here. These will be available to rent. Trees have been planted at the front of the Helios Grand Hotel. The big dome on top is still not complete, but it's getting farther along each time we see it. At the Stella Nova Resort, work continues on the guest parking. The traffic circle looks like it's finished. Off to the side are holes in preparation for more trees to be planted. More of the guest walkways have also been created. The pool side of the Stella Nova Resort is nearing completion. They've decided to do a stripe pattern for the concrete. The creative team really put a lot of thought into how they wanted things designed. It's nice to see that even concrete has been thought out and isn't just a plain gray slab. It's definitely more work, but it really adds to the theming. The pool was painted a blue color as well as a hot tub. Plus lights have been installed around it. Work is in progress at the pool bar. The roof line isn't yet complete. Here's a look at both hotels with the lights on at dusk. The hotels are meant to look like the night sky when it's dark. At the Terra Luna Hotel, trees have been added to the traffic circle. On the poolside, many trees have been added around the pool and walkways around the resort. Well, that's it for our latest update for Universal Epic Universe. As always, thank you to Buyer Reconstruct for all the amazing photos. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.